My spring bulbs are popping. The seed starting room is so full. And today I'm gonna give you a complete tour of our flower farm in May.
Carry all that you've got. Two heavy hearts is not a lot. I will put out all of the fire. We stumble and fall.
Now on the agenda today, I want to take you through the entire farm, show you what's blooming, take you into the seed starting room. It's hoarder status right now. It's so full. And also we're partnering once again with Cricut. I want to show you guys our farmer's market booth from this past weekend. I brought all my tulips, my daffodil. We did a whole bouquet bar and it was so beautiful, and I'm definitely making that a regular feature of our booth now. And also a little bit later on in the video, I want to walk you through how I'm designing my mugs. It's a really similar process to how I make all of those fun signs. And these are so fun and easy to make. Me and Cameron made this morning, and I mean, best mom ever. Yeah, okay, let's get started on the tour. So we're gonna start the tour here at my fenced garden. This is where I'm putting any and everything that needs to be protected from the deer, from chipmunks, from rabbits, squirrels, all of that stuff, because we are in the mountain, like national forest is behind us. So we've gotta keep it protected. This is where I planted all of my tulip bulbs, where I've been harvesting them, and then where I've got all of, well, virtually all of my cool season plants planted. Also, I gotta show you our new sign. So we finally decided what we wanted to do for the sign for the garden. It says Mountain View Family Farm, and we did our logo. So it's really cute. We actually, I used the, I cut it out with my Cricut machine, used the infusible ink, and then put it on this aluminum. And then this wood, it's actually from a tree that we dropped here on our property, and then we cut some rounds, and I just thought it looks really cute. So inside the garden bed, this is where I've got my tulips. You can see I've just got one more variety of tulips left to go, and then behind those lilies, these guys are the most pretty, like pink fringed tulip, and they're a double. But what we had in here, you can see this ground here is like kind of torn up. That's where I planted all of the tulips that I've been harvesting through the month. So I'm gonna give you some clips here of ones that we had, but the blue diamond tulips were my favorite, absolute favorite. They were doubles, and they're not blue at all, but that beautiful like deep purple. I'm not even a huge purple fan, but they were so pretty in bouquets with some of those white blossoms and like just the little bits and bobs of foliage that we collected from around the property. I'm not sure exactly why, but my Apricot Beauty tulips, they were really short. So it worked out because we were pulling the bulbs, and so I was able to get like the full stem length that I could. But I loved the color on them. They were more of like a soft pink apricot, and I felt like they aged the best. Even though they were a little bit smaller, I loved how the petals had kind of like a point versus the Apricot Impression, which were more of like a rounded petal. And I felt like those were just a little bit more, they're just more ordinary. They're something you'd see in like a grocery store, very pretty in color. And I think especially when you harvest those early, when they're just barely cracking, that is the right stage to harvest your tulips. That way you can pull them out, put them either in the refrigerator to hold them for about a week, or that way you can enjoy the most vase life out of them. So highly recommend, if you're harvesting tulips, don't harvest them when they're like fully open. Now the pink ones that I have still in the field here, these guys are doubles. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. Actually, a few of these I might pull today, but doubles you want to be opened a little bit more, and you want them to start to have color, whereas your singles, you're really only gonna want them to color crack. So just barely being open and having a little bit of color. Hey, Pootie. She's like, what are you doing in there? Hey, girl. Next to the tulips, I've got our lilies, and these are a beautiful white lily variety, and they're gonna be super fragrant. Cannot wait. These guys are getting some good height. You can see up against my hand, like they're getting pretty tall. And these are ones that are gonna be perennial. So I'm gonna cut them, and they're just gonna keep coming back next year. Over here, I've got 9 different David Austin roses. I planted them fairly close together, but because I'm gonna be clipping off of these and, you know, basically pruning them every year, I figured close would be good. The 3 that I have over here, these are called the Lady Gardener, and they're a really pretty large apricot colored rosette, and they're supposed to have a strong tea fragrance. These three over here, they're Queen of Sweden, and they're supposed to have really nice cupped blooms. They're bushy, they're supposed to be also healthy and have a nice like myrrh fragrance. And then the three that I have over here on the end are called Tranquility. I'm really excited to have white roses, and these ones have a really pretty, like, precise petal that's white looking, and they have light green foliage. They say that they're almost thornless, which I don't know how a rose can be thornless, but that sounded good to me. Behind me, we just put up a cattle panel that we arched, and this is where I'm going to be planting my zucchinis and, well, I haven't decided entirely. I think my zucchinis and my yellow squash, I'm gonna do both of those kind of climbing up the trellis. Of course, the day that I'm filming this, it's exceptionally windy. Okay, let's go over here. I wanna show you guys what I have planted, what I planted actually from seed that's also along the same side as the tulips. So down along the base of the fence, I've planted my sweet peas. So along the entire length of this fence, we've just got sweet pea, sweet pea, sweet pea. And I went with different varieties. The main thing that I was looking for with my sweet peas was scent. So I love those like old-fashioned, like highly fragrant varieties. And then over here, this is where I put some that I actually started indoors and then I transplanted out. Unfortunately, I can see something has been nibbling on these. I'm not sure what. I'm thinking it's squirrels. But honestly, when I compare, you know, kind of where these guys are at with how those guys are doing that I seeded, I think next year I'm just gonna do them straight from seed instead of trying to start them early. On this outside here of the fence, that's where I've got all of my daffodil. Gotta show you guys those next. Now, because we just had a huge market this past weekend and so many daffodil, a lot of them are clipped. But what I planted this year and what'll continue to come back, we've got Mariki. Those are a really, really pretty yellow, big trumpet variety. I also planted Replete, and those are hands down my new favorite daffodil variety. These are a double, so you definitely want to pick them when they're a little bit more open than you would the standard daffodil. Standard daffodil, you're gonna pick those when they're just barely starting to come out of that little shell. It's almost like they have a little bit of tissue paper covering the bloom, and as soon as that starts to come off, that's when you pick them. The doubles, you actually want to let them come out just a little bit more, or you kind of risk them not ever coming out. So this one right here is a Replete, and you can see it's just starting to sort of open a little bit. That is perfect timing, at least in my opinion, for when to pick them. And then you can either put them straight into a vase or you can hold them in the refrigerator. And you'll know that it's gonna open up and you're gonna get the maximum vase life out of those. I also planted, oh, I just said that this was all of them. On the other side, I planted some Mount Hood daffodil, and those are gorgeous, as well as a mix of just random daffodil. And I found these little teeny yellow ones, never heard of them, still don't know what they are, but they are the most fragrant daffodil I've ever smelled. They're tiny, but in arrangements they're really, really pretty, and that scent is so strong. Over here, just past the daffodil, I've got Iris. These guys are tiny, tiny still, and they're amongst like little bits of grass. So grass, and then this is Iris. These guys are a really cool yellow iris, and I'm just letting them do their thing. I haven't really even weeded in here, just kind of seeing when they're gonna pop up. I think we've still probably got another month or so until these guys are actually throwing some blooms. A little bit further down, and also on the outside, we just prepped this bed here, which is going to be my Foxglove. I started those indoors and I still haven't planted them out yet, mainly just because I haven't had the time. But this is a whole 40-foot long bed. I'm just gonna throw down some of the landscape fabric, burn some holes, put in the drip lines, and that'll be good for those. They say Foxglove is good even with deer and rabbits, so I'm hoping. And then I'm gonna throw some snapdragons in as well. On the hill over here, you can see I've got a bunch of trenches, and this is where the dahlias are gonna go. Just a little sneak peek of some of the varieties that I have in mind. Cafe au lait, I've got some of those started, and I'm about to show you those in the seed starting room. I've got a variety called Beatrice. I've got one called Bride to Be, Teddy, Milo, Ivanetti is a really, really pretty, like deep, smaller, but like really, really uniform blooms. I'll have to fill you guys in more when we go in the seed starting room, because I'm gonna show you guys like how big those are already starting to get inside. Oh, black satin, that's another really deep one that I'm really excited about. Crossfield ebony, that's another really deep one. Yeah, I'll tell you guys more about those when we get a little closer. And then behind these rows, I've got 4 rows of peonies planted. These guys we planted in the winter, actually. It was like snow on the ground, but I planted the bare roots, and we have those in the ground here right below the beehive. So beehive is up there, and then I've got 4 rows. Actually, I think I went a little bit crooked with one of my rows, so it's kind of like 4.5. And these guys, they're a little bit hard to see unless you look right up against the straw. So they come up kind of with this pretty red color, and you can see them going up for the spacing there. But I'm really excited to see like everybody popping up and doing their thing, especially with first year. You know, you're not gonna necessarily expect to, well, you shouldn't really harvest on your brand new like year 1 peonies, because you wanna let them kind of, you know, give some energy back to the root and let them get established. Some people don't even cut their peonies until 3 years in for like the maximum health. But it's nice to see how many shoots they're sending up, and they look really healthy. So I've got a red variety, a white variety, and then also I believe I did the Sarah Bernhardt's too, and those guys are like a light pink. This one is really outstanding. And then there are the bees. So since we're here, let me show you guys the bees. Let me find a good spot so I can let you guys watch them while I'm talking. There we go. You can kind of see the front of the hive, I think. So we got these actually from Coastal, the local farm store here in Oregon. And I had to pre-order them. They came in, and it was supposed to be the next day that I was gonna be getting like my beekeeper like hood and coat and gloves, all the things I thought I needed like to do, like put them into the hive. Because when you get them, they're in like a little wooden crate with like mesh on the side. And then you have to open them, shake them into the hive. And I was like, you probably need, and like you don't use smoke the first time, but most beekeepers that I've heard of use smoke to like calm the bees and, I don't know, make them not sting you. My stuff was supposed to get here the day after the bees were arriving, and everybody's like, get them right into the hive, get them established. You gotta take the queen, she's in a whole nother package that's separate. You gotta take the cork out, put a marshmallow in, put her in a specific place, and not let her fly out. Gotta cover it with your finger. And I didn't have any of my beekeeping gear ready, but it was just fine. These guys are the Italian variety. There's our rooster. They were really friendly. Nobody stung me. I just stayed calm and, you know, kind of followed the instructions that they gave me and put them in. After 3 days, I went ahead and I took the little queen cage out. They had released her, and they seem to be doing really great. So I'm very excited to have bees. I think they are just gonna help our garden immensely, and I'm really excited to get honey. Hopefully we'll be able to harvest a little bit late fall. We'll see. I don't want to take too much from them, especially when they're first getting started, but I have heard that you can get honey just in your first year, so it's really exciting. One of the flowers that I did plant, like I started indoors, got the plants ready and planted out, even in the cold, that does just fine, is my snapdragons. They're doing so well. We've got about 20 feet here of snapdragons, and then we go past those into the scabiosa. So far they're doing pretty good. A lot of these I have pinched, and you can see they're already branching doubles out. So you can see where I pinched it there, and then we're gonna have twice or maybe even quadruple the blooms when you pinch them. And then if you walk down a little further, I planted out my transplants of scabiosa. These guys don't seem to be taking on quite as well as the snapdragons, but still they're doing good. I think there's a little bit more weed pressure on these guys. Inside the landscape fabric here, this row, I have not only got some black-eyed Susans, Rudbeckia, which I'm really excited to see. These guys are more cold hardy, so I've had these in here for a good 3 weeks in the landscape fabric. They seem to be doing great. I've also planted a few different types of cress. So what I would call standard cress, and then also it's called wrinkled crinkled. I got that seed from Florette. Beautiful. We've also got some lemon balm planted here in this first landscape fabric, and some me. Very, very excited for this. I love the texture that all of these, like this greenery adds to bouquets, and it's stuff that I've never grown before. So I can't wait to see how everything is gonna fit together, what the timing is gonna be for blooms, and we'll just have to wait and see. Another one that I have that I transplanted and put in probably about a month ago is mountain mint, and those guys are really small. They seemed like they went through some transplant shock, but they're kicking back, so we'll see. Also already planted in the ground in landscape fabric, I've got our straw flower, and I've also planted out stock. The stock, oh, it looks like it's not loving the transplant, but I think it's because I just did it last week. So I'm hoping these guys are gonna kick off. When I first planted them out, we had like all of a sudden a 28-degree night, and I think it hated it, but I think it's gonna kick in there, and I think it's gonna be okay. This variety here is called Cat's Cherry Blossom, and it is so pretty. So I'm really hoping that this one works out, and stock has the most amazing scent. I love it. Okay, before I take you into the seed room, I'm gonna show you how I've been making my signs, and specifically these extra cute mugs. All right, so I wanna show you guys really quick how I design my mug and virtually how I do all of my farmers market signs. Process is always the same. I use my Cricut, I use their app design, and then you cut it out, you'll weed out the excess and then apply it. So today we're gonna be applying it onto a mug blank. I got this just from Cricut.com. It's a 12-ounce size. And I also purchased their mug press recently, and it makes it super easy to just heat the ink and then it applies it. And you can put this through the dishwasher and everything. So I'm on their Cricut design app. I selected the 12-ounce size because that's the mug that I got. It's gonna go ahead and throw it onto the canvas. They've already got this worked out and sized, so anytime you do the pre-made designs, it's super quick and easy. You could edit it if you wanted to, because sometimes you want to add like a name or change the font, you can do that. Here, I'm just gonna make it how they had it. I really love this one. And you always mirror the design anytime you're gonna do something with infusible ink, because it needs to go on backwards so that you can see it, how you'd read it. For the material, we're using the infusible ink. So I went with the avocado color. So I lined that up on my mat. Then in the design space, we're gonna let them know that we're using the infusible ink. It lets me know about making sure I have the right blade in my machine, and then we're just gonna go ahead and load this in. Just press the flashing button on the top. And then we can go ahead and start the design. So it's all done with the cut. Just gonna go ahead and unload it, and then we can peel it off our mat. So that's all there is as far as designing and cutting out your design. So now what I'm gonna do is actually, I like to just kind of roll it just a little bit with this infusible ink. It seems like it helps things to kind of come out a little bit easier, and you don't even necessarily need the weeder. So just kind of roll it just a little bit, and then I'm gonna peel off the excess here. So I've just got a couple little bits of the letters that just need to be pulled out. And we can peel this off as well. So now we're just gonna go ahead with placement. Once you've got it where you want it, go ahead and press it. Make sure you get out any bubbles. And then we can go ahead and put it into our press. So I'm just gonna lift up, and we'll slide our mug in really carefully so that you don't move any of the placement. And then slowly we'll just go ahead and press this down. So just like that, make sure your handle stays nice and centered. And then on the top here, it's just gonna count down. Well, it'll count up until it's all done. So we're on the first stage here. When it's all done, then we'll go ahead and carefully take it out and allow it to cool. I think the thing I like the most about the infusible ink is not only can you do, you know, like a custom mug of something that's already created in the app, but also, I mean, I can do my farm logo. I can put that on here. I can have my kids draw, like they can make a design and I can upload that on the app and then have the machine draw it in infusible ink and put it on a mug, like something that my kids have designed, and make that for a grandparent. I think that is super cool. So you can really customize anything. This could be a whole business in itself. It's amazing what you can make with the Cricut. Speaking of what you can make, I don't think I said this at all in the video, but my shirt, it's our logo. So Mountain View Family Farm, and I put it on a little tank top. This, I didn't use the infusible ink. I actually used the iron-on transfer. So this is a good one if you're just like making something for a party or an event. It'll go through like numerous washes, but if you want to last like extra long, use the infusible ink. But I don't know, the iron-on transfer seems to last pretty well for me as well, and I had it on hand and I wanted to test it out. So yeah, I think it's cute. Like I can wear this at the market and it gives people good, like, you know, that brand recognition, which I think is great. While we're waiting for that to come out of the press, I wanted to show you guys what I'm working on for next market. So hopefully I'll be able to show you guys this all done. But I made this sign. It's like a giant piece of chalkboard. I got it from Home Depot, and then I added the what is this, 2x3, just from like the lumber section. I made a frame. Like I made this myself. Pretty excited. I used it last market, but I just used chalk and wrote it out like handwritten, and the problem was it got kind of smudgy, and I just don't love my handwriting. I know I hate to say that because I hate for my kids to hear that, but it's true. I don't love my handwriting, and I like to be able to have something that looks a little more put together than like my handwriting. Oh, the mug just came out here. Let me show you guys how we take it out. All right, so the handle is gonna stay cool, but we're just gonna go ahead and open it, and the actual mug part's gonna be really hot, so be careful. Just go ahead and take that out, and you can put it on a trivet, or if you have like a heat-proof something, and then we can just go ahead and pull this right off. But be careful because it is hot. Isn't that awesome? It turns out so perfect. So now I've got 2 of them. You know what? I'll have to do a giveaway on this one because I don't think I need 2 Best Mom Ever mugs. That's too much. Okay, so back to my sign I was trying to show you guys. So last week at my bouquet bar, I just wrote it out. This week I want to cut out of white vinyl. I want to cut my sign to say like bouquet bar and then how much prices are by the stem. I might have to handwrite some of the pricing, like tulips, $2 a stem, daffodil, $1 a stem. I might write that in every market, but I at least want to have like a cool thing, maybe my logo. We'll see how I end up doing it, but that is what's next on my Cricut Creations list. Now, the seed starting room, like I said in the beginning of the video, is absolutely jam-packed right now. Now, my hope in the seed starting room is to give you guys a look at some of the plants, what they look like as like little baby growing on plants, and then also what they're going to look like with pictures and such. And like seriously, I look like a hoarder in here, but I swear it's because we are literally gonna be planting out an entire flower farm from this room. So right now it's filled. Next week it's gonna be about half this, and then in 2 weeks it's gonna be basically empty. Where to start? Okay, I think let's start with the dahlias. So a lot of people will put their dahlia tubers straight in the ground, but since we have such a short season and dahlias you can just keep cutting and cutting and cutting from them, I wanted to get these guys going and in the ground as early as possible. So I've got them potted up, and these guys, like this entire tray here, the 3x5, these are all Beatrice dahlias. So I've got Beatrice tubers. I've divided these guys, and as soon as we had sprouts, you know, a good amount of sprout, then I watered them. Before that, I just barely had the potting soil moist. Over here, I've got some succulents. These are some arrangements that I had from the farmer's market, and some really pretty like ceramic pots. They're just hanging out next to them. I've got more dahlias here. I've got some more ranunculus that I started. You know, when you feel like your things aren't growing fast enough or enough, you start more. So that's what happened there, a little panic start. I've got some dahlias over here. This is another Beatrice. I'm comparing the difference of starting them in the gallons versus starting them in this size. I think this size is the way to go. Way easier to manage. Over here, I've got some more varieties. These guys are all cafe au lait, and these guys are beautiful. Absolutely. If I had to pick favorites, I think cafe au lait is a lot of people's favorite. Honestly, I have more seedlings than I can even show you in the video, just to list them all out. There are probably thousands of plants in here. But let's just go through some of them. So these guys here, these are the White Knight sunflowers, a really nice pollenless sunflower variety. I bought some purple tomatillos. These are for like some veggies. I've got a bunch of cafe au lait dahlias that I actually did cuttings off of tubers. So like this, I'll pot the tubers up, and then when they start to sprout and they get about, I don't know, 2-3 inches tall, then I do a cutting off the tuber, and then I'll actually peel the bottom leaves, and then I put those into the soil, and then they make their own roots. They make their own tubers eventually, and these guys in a few weeks will be able to go into the ground and make their own big tubers. So I've got those, more cafe au laits. These are the mama cafe au laits. I've got some parsley. I've got some more tomatoes I need to pot up. These guys here are gomphrena, and these are a really pretty, it's called Audrey White. They're almost like a clover, but they dry beautifully, and they actually are kind of like hard and crunchy. And you can use them really, really easily in anything dried. Down here, I've got some pumpkin that Landon planted. They're just one that he saved. Over there, we've got some cantaloupe and some watermelon. Down below, this is a mix. It's a double click mix of cosmos. I also have some zucchini squash and some sun gold tomatoes. Back in the flowers, I've got some more stock. So these are those white stock. These guys, you can see they're quite a bit behind where those cherry blossom stock were, but the white are really pretty as well. I've got some more sunflowers. This variety here, it's called Sunrich Summer Provence sunflowers. These are really cute. I planned on just getting pro cuts, but the picture of these just was so stunning, I couldn't help myself. For marigolds, so we've got the Durango Outback mix. These are gonna be mainly to go like kind of around as like a pest control. And then I like to save the petals to give to my chickens. It's supposed to be good for like their egg production and such. Over here, I've got some yellow squash, a few more tomatoes, and then in the back there, I think those are actually watermelon, if I remember right. I've got some in the back here. These are some lunchbox sweet peppers. Over here, I've got, this is Kaylee's little pansy. I have some Lisianthus, and I've got two varieties here actually. Lisianthus take forever, like not an understatement, they take forever to grow. Let's see, which are these? These are the Voyager 2, they're a white Lisianthus, those little babies. Right here, I've got my Camelot Cream Foxglove, or Digitalis. And then over here, these are the Arena 3 Apricot Lisianthus. They're actually doing pretty well. I was nervous. Really is my first year of flower farming to do them, but I thought let's just give it a try. Let's just see how they do. I've also got my eucalyptus. I have lots of eucalyptus babies and they are doing great. Over here, I've got some Bennery's Giant Lime Zinnias. These guys are some more, actually no, these are my China asters. They are the Tower Chamois or Tower Chamois, a really pretty like light apricot peach. I've got some more eucalyptus, lots of eucalyptus. I'm really hoping for that this year. Over here, this is a beautiful white mignonette. It's a variety from Floret. These guys have the most interesting leaves. They almost look like a weed, but they're so pretty. Like they're so intricate, even being teeny tiny. And then the plant is the most like beautiful, like spiked, but soft and intricate bloom. Over here, I've got my Craspedia. These make a really cool yellow ball. It does really, really great things for like dried arrangements, and you can use it like in wreaths and dried bouquets. Over here, these are some more zinnias. The zinnias all look really similar, but these ones are the plain white variety. I've also got some more Iceland poppies. These are teeny tiny. I'll show you guys outside. I'll show you some that I already have growing in the ground. They're more cold tolerant. So dahlias, 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 all potted up. I've got some grasses here. These are feathertop grass. Over here I've got some eucalyptus. I need to pot those up. More eucalyptus. This is the different variety, but I've got a ton. Dahlias, dahlias, eucalyptus. More dahlias potted up. And then over here, this is statice. This is white statice. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the lights making this go red or what, but I don't know. Over here, more dahlias, more eucalyptus. I've got some Roma tomatoes that I potted up into some paper pots. I've also got some more zinnias. These are a really pretty wine color. These guys are doing beautifully. I'm really happy with the growth and just the health overall of like the plant. They're nice, thick, sturdy stalks. For here, I've got the Orlea. It's the white light lace variety. And a really pretty, sort of like the Ami. Reminds me of the Ami. I've got a split tray here over on the end. I've got my Celosia. And this is a really cool yellow. It's called Sylphid, S-Y-L-P-H-I-D, Sylphid. Really cool like plumes. And then, let's see, up another shelf, I've got a bunch of baby oregano plants. Been selling herbs at the farmer's market and then also using it to make my fresh herb butter. So I've been trimming on these guys and making them really nice and sturdy. I've got some more eucalyptus. This is actually ones that I saved the seed from some seeded eucalyptus I had from the floral market, and I grew them, and they're the most like sturdy, big, healthy plants. So I'm really excited about that. We've got more dahlias, more tubers that I was doing for cuttings. Up here, I've got more dahlias, and on the end, I can barely get up to see these guys, but I have some baby Dusty Miller. There we go. You can kind of see now the true leaves. So they're first, like not the baby leaves that are there in the beginning, but their first true leaves actually have that little bit of fur that the Dusty Miller has. They're so cute and they're so teeny tiny right now. So I know that was really quick, and I know probably if you're looking at these for the first time, it looks like just one big green mass, but the plants are all so different and they're so unique, and when I look at these trays, I just see so much potential and so many blooms, and I cannot wait to get these guys in the ground. So back outside now, and I want to show you guys my Iceland poppies, a little bit of the progress on what's going on in this landscape bed, my low tunnel, the chickens. There's a lot to see on the farm. So over here I have got my Iceland poppies. These guys I actually started indoors back in like December as teeny tiny little bitty seeds and starts, and I'm finally starting to get buds and I'm getting blooms. And you harvest those when they just barely start to crack, and you can see the color that the bloom is going to be. And these guys will just keep producing and producing, so I'm really excited about it. Unfortunately, I did notice that we were getting some like rabbit or squirrel damage. I think they've been nibbling on my poppies, so I'm not real happy about that. Oh, I can see some more blooms over there. Yay! I love those cut and come again flowers. I've also got a few snapdragons that I planted over here. I kind of wanted to use this just as my little tester bed. That poor rooster. We've got some onions over here. These are Walla Walla sweet onions. I did those from seed, and then I've got some kale. This is dinosaur kale. I've been harvesting tulips out of here, and then this is a little peek at the hydrangea. No blooms yet, but we've got one here, one there. I also planted some lilac, so I've actually got one there, guess there's not one there, there. So my hope is to be able to have this whole walkway. So right now I've got a lot of drip tubing that's gonna go for the dahlias, but my hope is to have, I've got all our lilacs planted along here, just kind of evenly spaced, and this walkout, which you can't see the mountain today because there's clouds, but I want it to just be beautiful, like lilac blossoms and peony fields, and it's gonna be beautiful. Got a little bit of tests going on some straw flower. I put these out pretty early. They were very tiny plants. And also some more Iceland poppies. Those guys just went in. They're looking pretty sad. And then the chicken coop, that's the top of the run over there. I'll take you guys in and you can have a look. So the barn and feed room is right here. And then over here is where we've got our new chicken coop. I'll have to take you guys in there on a different day. It's getting really windy. Here is the barn. We've got our baby chickens in there. I do have some plant starts. These are actually ones that I'm growing for the market specifically. I've got some rhubarb plants here. These are bare roots that I planted up and they are doing amazing. I just potted them up in some Pro Mix with compost and a little bit of the bigger perlite, and they are loving this sunny spot. So I did them in 2 plantings. So I did these guys, and then a couple weeks later I've got these smaller guys here because I didn't want to have too many all at once. And then I've got over here, I potted up some petunias. These are ones that I saved the seed from, and then I planted and put them into some pots. These guys are actually just some, I forget the name, I want to say Creeping Charlie. I don't know if that's right, but we have that plant here in the yard. And so I grabbed little cuttings of those. And this one here, these are some lobelia seeds in between. These are the petunias. So I'm hoping to do some hanging baskets at the market as well. And that's where I'm keeping these, just right here on the side of the barn. Over here, I've also got some more goodies for the market. We've been selling these sugar snap peas like crazy. People love the sugar snap peas. Anything fresh that they can just harvest, people love that. I mean, I do too. Whoop, I get it. Hi, Putty. Hi, Putty. Hi, girl. I think she's feeling a little neglected. She needs a little bit of time. Okay, we gotta take a break so I can give her a good pet. Okay, let me show you guys the low tunnel. So I planted my low tunnel in the winter and I potted up, not potted up, well yeah, kind of. I potted up some ranunculus and anemone corms. I grew those on and then I planted them in the winter when they were just, like they were rooted, didn't really have much sprouts going on. I noticed that they were starting to get, I've had the plastic off, but I noticed that they're starting to get nibbled by something out here. So I went ahead and I put the plastic back on. I don't want to risk losing any more blooms or anything. Let me show you guys what these plants are looking like up close. So these, can you see them? These are ranunculus right here. This one looks like it's gonna be maybe a rosy pink. And I actually did 2 plantings because I was noticing they weren't doing so great. So I actually sowed some more in a little bit later in the winter. See those blooms? They're gonna be so pretty. And then I think I had 3 varieties of the anemones. And I just harvested my first anemones actually yesterday. And they are so tiny, but so cute. This is what the anemone plants look like. And this is actually, that's the one that I harvested off of. So when they're coming up, they almost look like just a leaf, but that's one there. Well guys, it's actually the next day and I've sat down, I'm editing this, we're right at the end, and I lost the footage of saying goodbye. So I figured I would just hop on. I just wanted to say a sincere thank you so much if you stuck around till the end. It's so exciting to me, this new growing season and everything going on, all of these flowers. I have so much hope and excitement for this new year. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss all the blooms and see how this year goes. If you want to stay up to date in real time, make sure you're following my Instagram pages, both the Mountain View Family Farm page, it's like our farmer's market page, as well as my Naturally Brittany page. And I'll have those linked down below. And you can message me over there. It's the best way to get a hold of me with questions. So thank you guys so much and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.